history of giving started long before I entered into elected politics. It was just formalized in 2015 when I established the Ian Patches Liebert Social Assistance and Youth Development Fund. We provided social assistance in the form of medication for mostly the older folks and those who couldn't afford it in the constituency. We provided food, lunches, hot lunches, and we provided as well funeral grants. In the area of youth development, we did in fact provided school supplies on occasions, and just last week we brought cheer to many of the children in the community through distribution of our toys. What I did this year, because I was not present at the ceremony during which time those houses were allocated, the houses on Wellington Road and West Street. And I would say that I still believe I have some unfinished business to do, in that the project conceived some 60 units for 60 families in the community. I've only completed 24. Because I was absent, I thought I would show some appreciation to those who were allocated homes, the 24 tenants that were there. So we donated a household appliance and some food stuff. I also, in this era of COVID, thought it would be prudent to donate some non-pharmaceutical supplies to the schools in the area, some 5 schools, and also to my church. They got a donation of hand sanitizers, temperature clock, and this is going to continue. I also used the opportunity as well, and I must add, in terms of the housing, and I said unfinished business because during or before being elected, I committed to what I call the slum clearance in the East Bastia area, which would include the demolishing of the old CHA houses on East Street. And we have already had designs to build some 20 homes. We were hoping to do 2 floors in East Street, in fact. 5 buildings, I should say, with 4 units each and 2 floors. That's 20 families should benefit from that project as well in East Bastia. I do have some unfinished business to do, and I know that many have said to me that wherever I'm going, they are going. And I committed to my people that I would never leave them. I also took the opportunity to visit some of the projects that I spearheaded during my term in office. The brand new ferry terminal, it is still being maintained well. I went there. I also looked at the West Bus Terminal as well. We went on to the new cruise pier. I was a little bit disappointed that that walkway that connects the old pier to the new pier was not completed. I thought we had the opportunity. As a matter of fact, we started. All the footing is there, all the steel work is already laid. So it took me aback because I really thought that would have been completed. Because we had back then, as a cabinet, decided that during the COVID period, at least the construction industry would be kept going, so it could also provide some level of employment. But that was not done, and I hope it will be done shortly. And the idea or the concept was as well to put an arrival lounge for the passengers on using the second cruise pier, and then this walkway goes on to connect to the original cruise pier. So that project too is still outstanding. I had the opportunity to travel around the countryside and to see the work which I started on the brand new rehabilitated Island Main Road. I was really impressed because a lot of us take for granted those islands there in the Molyneux area. Those are 4 or 5 islands, and that really has enhanced the traffic management in the area. There in Washgut, we completed that. So many people take that for granted. In the past, the water, once rain fell, the Washgut would run, and it made it very hazardous for the vehicles going through the water. Now the water is submerged and goes under the road. There's also the Kearn River, old Kearn River, that was done. Even with rain coming, you can use the sidewalk across the river, and that won't impede the pedestrians from crossing the river. Again, the water is submerged and goes under the road, and that too was an improvement. I looked at the East Bus Terminal. There are some issues with the East Bus Terminal, and I know that they're not insurmountable. There are issues with the bus drivers, and those bus drivers that apparently skip the terminal and go downtown and pick up passengers downtown. But I'm sure the Ministry of Transport will resolve those issues as well. The Old Road Bay. I mean, what can I say about the Old Road Bay? I mean, that is really a piece of work. That is something I wanted to do for a long time, and I was gratified that I was able to spearhead that resilience building project. I call it resilience building because you remember whenever the rain fell, there was soil and rock slippage from the hills. There was a young man from my area who died coming across Old Road Bay one Saturday or Sunday afternoon, young Molly. And it was always within me to get that project done. So what we did, we recovered some of the land that was lost through sea level rise. What have we lost? Land coming across the Old Road Bay. And when you would have thought that the road was sinking, in fact the sea level is rising. And so what we do to mitigate against that, we move seaward, so move away from the hill. Pedestrian access. We have provided sidewalks all around the country, and it really pleases my heart to see how we protect our pedestrians. In the past, people walked on the road. Look at Bird Rock. Here in Bird Rock, in my constituency, forever, people walk in the road to get to town. And I said no. Just like we have vehicle access, we must respect pedestrians as well. So we have provided sidewalks all over the country, in Bastia, in Sandy Point, in Molyneux, hear me, all over the country there's pedestrian access, because we have to protect the people who walk on the road. So I can perhaps talk on and on. I'm just humbled to have been part of this infrastructure development in St. Kitts, which is important to our economy. If our economy is to function efficiently, we must have good infrastructure. I was happy to lead that. How can we forget the traffic lights? Traffic lights has improved the traffic management in downtown Bastia. I'm a little bit disappointed because phase 2 should have been completed since 2019, but then came Mr. COVID, and it prevented the works. The engineers could not travel at the time. In early 2020, our borders were closed. All the equipment were here since 2019, and I'm a bit taken aback as to the reasons why the phase 2 has not been completed. I see some work going on, but I'm sure that it would be completed in due course. So the infrastructure development within the community, we put our floodlights at Ponds Pasture, at what we call the paddock, and driving up on the Bay Road a few nights ago, it was about 10 or 10:30 in the night, and to see those young men playing football at that time in the night, and releasing their energy in that sport. I also saw some nights before, some young men were playing cricket right there at the paddock, and that to me is pleasing. It's pleasing that we did something good, and we provided the avenue. And how can I overlook the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport? We put down brand new solar lighting at the airport. We relayed the entire runway, the entire 8,000 feet of runway was rehabilitated. We opened the taxiways, Alpha A, Alpha B, and there was one taxiway, and the main taxiway was closed. The airport was in a dilapidated state. If you see the reports that we met from the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, you would not believe. It was recommended that we should only take flights, or we should not take flights that are more than 60,000 pounds. It was recommended that we shouldn't take night landings. And we, as an administration, and I as the minister with responsibility for the airport, embarked upon the rehabilitation of the runway. We opened the taxiways. We looked at the apron parking. Yes, COVID came, but we've done quite a lot at the airport, which is a gateway, or one of the gateways to the country. And I'm happy to have been associated with the work that was done there at the airport as well. The trip was a very good one. I'm humbled. I'm humbled to extend my ministry of giving, and I can assure you it will continue. And we're gonna up the ante, so to speak. We're gonna do some things, believe it or not. I won't say much about them now. But the trip was a good one, a productive one, and it was really heartwarming to listen to the feedback, to get the feedback from my fellow constituents and from people all over the country, all around the country. And that tells me that I tried my best and I did a reasonable job.
Hey, we got it going on. Hey, we got it going on. Ooh, no separating, nothing divides us. Now there's more than a million reasons to quit, but we'll never split. More than a million reasons to quit, but we're holding on. Love is what dreams are made of, and in my visions all I see is her. We got something strong, and so we're holding on. Them never know we're serious, never want we link one another. Them put up all type of traps and barriers. Still I show them that true love's a conqueror. More than a million reasons to quit, but we'll never split. We got something strong, and so we're holding on. This love is the truth, yeah, and we've got the fruits to prove it. Still I keep a wide eye for parasites who try to defy. Now people gon' try things. Some find pleasure in spoiling a good thing. Still I let them know that in a Our life, there is no weak links. Now there's more than 1 million rivers to cross, but we gon' make it through. And more than 1 gazillion people gonna talk. So love that dreams are made of. And in my visions all I see is her. We got something strong, and so we're holding on.
Many did try but couldn't steal my honey. Many did try but